Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today is a very special Reunion 2020 episode. What is that? That's when I bring in a guest that I had on the past, and I liked him so much I had to invite him right on back. So today's guest is Benjamin Panter, who is Chair of Executive Compensation and Governance over at McDonald Hopkins. Ben, welcome back to the show.
Thanks a lot, Adam. Appreciate you having me back.
All right, so we had a really good year in the podcast, a lot of new listeners. So today's topic, of course, executive compensation. But before we do that, we get into that, I don't want to assume that everybody caught the first episode. So let's just start off with you telling us a little bit more about McDonald Hopkins and what you're doing over there.
Yeah, so I'm attorney at McDonald Hopkins. I represent executives, boards, and companies with respect to their executive compensation arrangements, so whether that's equity programs, severance programs, change of control arrangements, dealing with all of the employment, corporate, and tax issues associated with compensation.
Awesome. And so just to set the stage, there's a lot of executives listening all throughout the country right now. They're hearing this. They know maybe a little bit about executive compensation. They're not maybe all the way knowledgeable, and they're thinking we have their attention, so to speak. So that being said, what excites you about executive compensation right now? Like, what are some of the things that should be on their mind for 2020?
So what I find exciting is the focus on the compensation. On the political front, as the presidential campaign kicks off, executive compensation is in the crosshairs. It's an exciting topic for politicians to talk about and potentially regulate. That's not necessarily that exciting, but it's something that certainly comes up a lot. What I find exciting is really the diversity of programs, what people are really trying to differentiate themselves with their compensation programs. I do a lot of work with companies that try to come up with unique and creative ways to compensate their executives and their employees, and use that as a means to attract, retain, and motivate their employees. And it's really exciting working with them to come up with programs that reinforce their culture and philosophy.
Now, not, of course, asking you to give any general legal advice or anything like that on this. And just to be clear, and not to disclose any clients' names or anything like that, but I don't think everybody understands that's listening some of the creative ways that executive compensation can be used to accomplish that goal you just mentioned. Can you give just a general overview of a type of plan that was created or a type of deal that was done, just so that they can wrap their mind around that, and it's not just another buzzword, executive compensation, because if done rightly, it can really help them achieve that goal of what you just mentioned of retaining and attracting that right type of client, that right type of employee or executive or key employee, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the focus these days, particularly in Chicago, Silicon Valley, Boston, New York, where there's a lot of that startup culture, startup feel to the city, a lot of the focus is on the equity compensation. I tell my clients, you're not going to buy a Caribbean island with your base salary and bonus. The equity is where you're really going to hit your home run. And so equity compensation comes with a lot of legal risks, tax risks, but it also presents a lot of opportunities. I'm working on a matter now where we are restructuring a corporation into an LLC so that we can grant something that's known as profits interest, which is a very tax efficient form of equity compensation where if you do it right, you can basically get taxed at capital gains rates ultimately as opposed to ordinary income. And at the end of the day, the net dollars you put in your pocket is really what's important. And so, there's a lot of variations on that theme, but it's important to keep, again, everyone's favorite topic, which is tax law, into account, but it really is a driving factor in a lot of these programs.
That's awesome. And So you mentioned for some of these funded startups, what are some things that some of the more, let's not say in the startup space, but maybe some of these middle market companies they've been in business for a while and they're kind of struggling out there to compete maybe with some of the startups, and because it's such a battle for the right type of talent on a certain level of management, what are some of the things that they should have on their mind in terms of competition?
So it becomes more difficult as you grow, obviously, to come up with diverse or unique programs. But that's really what a lot of, particularly startups, are doing. Is they're not just saying, "I'm going to adopt a stock option program. Give me your form stock option program." What we do is we really spend time sitting down, as I mentioned earlier, and coming up with their program. It may be an option program. It could be a phantom stock program, profits, interest. There's an infinite number of types of programs. But if you can come up with the right program and most importantly, communicate it to your existing employees and potential hires that they can participate in this unique program, it can be a very powerful way to both attract and retain employees.
Man, that's exciting. So Ben, if somebody's listening to this and they want more information on McDonald Hopkins or to connect because they want to learn more about executive compensation and possibly think about it for their company, what's the best route for them to do that?
Yeah, so they can email me directly, bpanter@mcdonaldhopkins.com. Call me directly, 312-642-4087, or connect with me on LinkedIn. Always happy to be connected.
Man, that's awesome, and I know you're going to have a year ahead of you, not just with your clients, but also with climate of political whatever's going to happen. I don't know, and that's not the subject of this episode. But I know one thing: executive compensation is a real hot topic today. Those that have it, those that want it, and everything in between. And you're right there in the apex of it all. So that's exciting. So hey Ben, thank you again for coming on the show and for this reunion episode. Great to talk to you again, and great to get some updates on what's going on in your world. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you learned something. Hope you had a lot of fun listening, because we had a lot of fun making it for you. If you did, subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Money Matters Top Tips, definitely give that a subscribe and leave some comments in the comment section. Let us know what you thought about executive compensation, or let's keep it off politics because I'm not answering, but we'll go from there. And Ben, thanks again for coming on. It was fun.
Thank you, Adam. Have a great day.